and welcome. Anyone here for the first time? Okay, that counts. Well, welcome, and we hope it won't be your last. What a treat tonight. Lee Murdock singing wonderful songs about the Great Lakes and stories, and what a singer and what an amazing guitarist. He's here today. He's in Essex tomorrow for a fundraiser for the Essex Sea Music Festival, and Sunday he's in Accord. But he traveled out here. He drove out from Illinois and stopped at different places on the way, different maritime museums. And is he making faces behind me? No. Anyway, so that's you're in for a treat. So, by the way, I'm Joy Bennett. I'm the executive director of Old Songs, which I always forget to say. So, without any further ado, Lee Murdock.
Thank you so much, Joy. How's everybody doing tonight? That's only moderately convincing now. Try it once again. How's everybody doing tonight? That's this spirit. Well, it's so much fun to be here with you folks to present a program of folk songs of the Great Lakes region for you with a special emphasis on New York State history. So without any further ado, let's get underway. Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. The Great Lakes are a diamond on the hand of North America, a bright shining jewel on that friendship bordering. It's a freshwater highway coming down from Canada, and all along the coastline you can hear the people sing. Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. Hardy are the seamen on the ships that load the iron ore, hauling out of Thunder Bay, bound for Buffalo. And hardy are the fishermen, like their fathers were before they say, bury me at sea when it's my time to go. Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. Down below the quarterdeck, old men mend the fishing nets, while up on the windy bridge, young men cursing to the wind. Up and down the Windsor Straits, the wives and mothers lie awake. They pray Our Lady of the Lake will bring them home again. Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea, singing, Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. Runs on out to sea. Runs on out to sea. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm very blessed because I get the opportunity to travel all over the Great Lakes region. And quite a few years ago now, I think it was 2014, I had the opportunity to play a concert and a school program on Wolf Island. You know where Wolf Island is? It's at the foot of Lake Ontario in Ontario itself. And the drive out, I went the thruway and then went up north. Stayed in Waterford the night before. And about 10 o'clock, my wife, Joanne, called me and said, you know, I've got this fellow who talked to you a couple years ago about this story. And she reminded me about this story. His name was Rob Saunders. And he lived in the Chesapeake Bay region, but when he was a kid, he would go up to Silver Creek, New York, on Lake Erie, and visit his grandfather there. His grandfather, Alan Rippenhagen, ran a marina called Rip's Marina. And every 4th of July, they had an international swim meet there. But Rob remembered when he was 12 years old, that things changed in 1963. Apparently, the night before, the village elders decided to clear out the sewer lines in the Lake Erie, so there was no swim meet that year. His grandfather was so upset. He was yelling to people near and far, even talking to people on the phone, even old accomplices from the Prohibition era. And one of those fellas said, well, you ought to give my son a call. I said, well, why should I do that? Well, he happens to be the Attorney General of the United States, Robert F. Kennedy. So he did. Within a few months, a lawsuit was filed against the village of Silver Creek, and it was the first small step to what 9 years later became the Clean Water Act. And this is his story called What About the Water? When I was just a young boy, about 12 years of age or so, I'd go down to Lake Erie shore, watch the freighters come and go, and I'd swim out in that water just to see what I could find. A pure act of adventure, leaving all cares behind. It was later on that summer when the lakeshore changed for worse. Bitter pools of pollution and raw sewage was dispersed. It flowed out into that water. Not a place could I find to swim out for adventure and leave my cares behind. I asked, what about the water? What about the lake? What about the people whose future is at stake? Think about the children who've yet to pass this way. Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water. It's about the water. A village was to blame for what occurred that day. For years, industry used the lake to wash their waste away. They said it didn't matter. They said they didn't care. Until someone stood before them and a lawsuit was prepared. Grandpa Allen was that man who stood up to the town. Said, you knew old Joe Kennedy from the bootleg underground. He had lake water in his blood, and he would not step aside. When that lake shore was in peril, this was not an act of pride. He said, what about the water? What about the lake? What about the people whose future is at stake? Think about the children who've yet to pass this way. Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water. It's about the water. My grandpa was a great man, and on him you could depend. He worked his whole life until the end. He cared about that water, and he cared about the lake. He sacrificed his fortune, all for our future's sake. So tell them, think about the water, think about the lake, think about the people whose future is at stake. What about the children who've yet to pass this way? Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water, oh, think about the lake. Think about the people whose future is at stake. What about the children who've yet to pass this way? Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water. It's about the water. What about the water? Thank you. After I got off the phone, I was on just like I was here behind Joe there. I was just getting to Watertown, you know. But the first thing that popped into my mind is, what about the water? And the next day, I wrote that song on Wolf Island, surrounded by Lake Ontario. And so it was meant to be. Speaking of Ontario, this is a song written by a wonderful songwriter writer from Ontario. Many of you know his work. He left much too early. This is a song that also has water quality issues too. Tiny Fish for Japan by Stan Rogers. Where Patterson Creek's muddy waters run down past the Penny Arcade by the harbor downtown, all the old turtlebacks rusting in the rain like they never will leave there again. But leave there they will in the hour before dawn, slip out in the darkness without word or song. For a few more years yet they will work while they can and catch tiny fish for Japan. No whitefish or trouty, we leave them alone. The inspectors raise hell if we take any home. What kind of fisherman can't eat his catch? Call what he's taken his own. The plant works 3 shifts now. There's plenty of pay. We ship 17 tons of this garbage each day. And if we want to eat fish, then we'll open a can and catch tiny fish for Japan. At the Norfolk Hotel over fire, too much beer. The old guys remember when the water ran clear. No poisons with names that you can't understand. No tiny fish for Japan. So the days run together, each one is the same. And it's good that the smelt have no lovelier name. For it's all just a job now, we'll work while we can and catch tiny fish for Japan. Yes, it's all just a job now, we'll work while we can and catch tiny fish for Japan. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to get my 6-string out here and sing a song that you all know. What do you mean? How do you know? How do you know I know this song? I know it because we all learned it in elementary school. That's how come. I learned it in the 3rd grade. And it's a song that celebrates one of the important aspects of New York history. That's right. Written by a songwriter from Tin Pan Alley, but who cares? I got a mule and her name is Sal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. She's a good old worker, a good old pal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. We hauled some barges in our day, filled with lumber, coal, and hay. And we know every step of the way, from Albany to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, for we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. We better get along on our way, oh gal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. There's not another mule as good as Sal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. Get up there, Sal, here comes a lock. We'll make Rome about 6 o'clock. One more trip, then back we'll go. Right on back home to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, for we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal, if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Now, where would I go if I lost my pal? 15 miles on the Erie Canal. There's not another mule as good as Sal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. I had a friend that got her sore. Now he's got a broken jaw 'cause she let go with her iron toe and kicked him clear back to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, for we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal, if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Well, you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal, if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Low Bridge, everybody down. 1913. Now, this next song is one of my own compositions. Back in 2011, I was contracted by Macomb County Community College outside of Detroit, and also the Grimsby Historical Society in Grimsby, Ontario, to do a program on the War of 1812. And I said, boy, that's a great opportunity. I'll do all these traditional songs, you know, all the songs that were popular back in those days. You know, I thought it was just great, you know. And as I'm doing my research and stuff, I realized that all of the songs that were, you know, kind of sung back then basically went like this. We're really good. You aren't. That's it. You know, it was just so... And so I kind of looked at it from a different perspective. You know, there were actually really 4 perspectives for that war. You know, the American perspective is, you know, the Second War of Independence, right? Okay. And then the Canadian perspective, the British colonial perspective, is the invasion of Canada. Okay. And then the British perspective is like, what are you talking about? We're talking about, we're dealing with a guy named Napoleon. Okay. And then there was the Native American perspective, which was total disaster. And so in the span of about 6 weeks, I wrote, 3 weeks, I wrote 6 songs. And this is one of them. And it's a first-hand account of the Ontario fleet, American fleet, outside of Niagara River in Lake Ontario, as recollected by a fellow named Ned Byers, who served on the USS Scourge, a schooner, and he witnessed the loss of the Scourge and the Hamilton. And most of the words that you hear in this song aren't mine; they're his. And so this is called the Ballad of Ned Byers. Let's get the right music here. Mind is an amazing thing. On the night of August 7th, in the year 1813, Just an ordinary seaman, I was young and lean. I served with Isaac Chauncey on Lake Ontario, aboard the schooner Scourge with the Hamilton in view. I was forward of the mainmast along the windward rail. There was no breath of wind to fill and swell a sail, but a rushing noise came from the lake, then followed by a flash, and a squall thundered on her beam, and rising waters crashed. That instant called for action, and I sprang for the jib sheet. Then Leonard Lewis helped me release the topsail cleat. By then I felt the water surge around my chest so high. 'Twas then I knew our ship was doomed, and surely we would die. Shrieks and screams filled the air as water filled the hold. The groaning of ship's timbers and the terror did unfold. Like it was in slow motion, the time seemed to stand still, when the Scourge crew and my hopes too sank into the chill. Now many years have passed since I stood upon her deck, and many folks I've greeted and many miles I've trekked, but not a day goes by when I can't think on that night. It's a haunting that is very real, fraught with fearful fright. Someday when I am long gone at my eternal rest, when other men find other ways for power to contest, take on the Scourge and Hamilton, warships among the best, who battled what they could not win, both time and nature's test. Thank you. As a matter of fact, just a few weeks ago, I attended an event, a festival called the Ghost Ships Festival in Wisconsin, and that's an underwater dive show. It's people talking about shipwrecks and that type of thing. And there was a presentation by Carrie Soden of the National Museum of the Great Lakes in Toledo, Ohio, about the Hamilton and the Scourge, and how it was just really fascinating, all the different research that has been done since sank back in 1813. Another fan told me about this next song, and I think it's a traditional song because there was no really reference to what wrote it, but I found it on the internet. The Niagara Outdoors webpage. And it's called the Blue Pike Song. Has anybody ever heard of a blue pike? You heard of the northern pike, a walleye pike, which actually isn't a pike, but whatever. You know, northern, so there's, you know, and the musky pike. But apparently it's in the walleye family, and it had a very specific cast. And it talks about how its demise, and so it's kind of like a traditional song I learned off the internet. So it's called the Blue Pike Song. Let's see. You can talk of Lake Erie and all it's about, with the perch and the walleye, the steelhead and trout. But of all the sports fish you may fondly recall, Sure, the darling blue pike was the queen of them all. Well, once this great lake with blue pike it did teem, from old Maumee Bay to Niagara's great stream. You could cast out your line any time of the day and haul in a blue pike from old Erie. So let's raise your glass, fellows, and here's to the day when the blue pike swam free from the old Erie. Then the factories grow wilder year after year, and those poison lake waters are starting to clear. So says the blue pike, this is no place to stay. So she bid her farewell to the old Erie. So let's raise your glass, fellows, and here's to the day when the blue pike swam free in the old Erie. Now the factories grow quieter year after year, and those poison lake waters are starting to clear. If we all do our part, we may yet see the day when the blue pike returns to the old Erie. So let's raise your glass, fellows, and here's to the day when the blue pike returns to the old Erie. So let's raise your glass, fellows, and here's to the day when the blue pike returns to the old Erie. These dive shows were really inspired by people who did scuba diving. And out in Chicago, where I'm from, there was a fellow who actually was a frogman on the beach in Normandy. And he was, he was a very, very young fellow, and he was doing all the preparation work for the Normandy invasion. And then over the years, he moved to Chicago, and then he became, like a fixture in the diving community out there. He was even using his equipment from like the early 50s back, when he was about 85 years old. Now, he probably shouldn't have been diving when he was 85 years old, but he was, And Bud was his name. And so this is a tribute to those people who do that underwater archaeology. And especially a reference to a fellow named Harry Zeik, who was a underwater salvager and quite a controversial person out in the Chicago area. He was the guy who discovered a vessel called the Lady Elgin, or if you're from Canada or Scotland, Lady Elgin. But the Lady Elgin, and it was sank on the evening of September 7th and over into the 8th, 1860. The loss of over 300 lives. Changed maritime law. And there was a big to-do about who owned the vessel and everything like that, but it put me in charge of the role that the underwater archaeologists, the divers, played, and that's what this song is about, written by a fellow named Ian Bell, who was the curator of the Maritime Museum in Port Dover, Ontario for many, many years. It's called The Ties That Bind. Standing on the afterdeck with an eye for storm or sail, a hand upon the tiller and the other on the rail. Now the sunset's dying rays have turned the billows red. Shoals of fish go swimming by so high above my head. Underneath the white caps where the breezes never blow, I'm tethered to the world above and spend my days below. My line trails out behind me and it loops up towards the sky. It's troublesome and twisted, but without I'd surely die. And I dream through the days as I drift through the silent waters, hard to let go and be free of this line. But I beam every night as my feet leaves the muddy bottom. Blessed be the ties that bind. I spent a lifetime searching, looking for a prize, a treasure lost so long ago, unknown to mortal eyes. And every time I go below, where the undercurrents run, I hear the voices whisper low, this dive could be the one. With every fathom pressure builds, and I slip far away. I try to preach the last few words, my feet didn't play. And I sound down here, the animals slow and fly, but this helmet only holds a tiny bubble of their sky. And I dream through the days as I drift through the silent waters, how to let go and be free of this line. But I beam every night when my feet leave the muddy bottom. Blessed be the ties that bind. As I said, the mind is an amazing thing. Through the days as I live through the silent waters, hard to let go and be free of this line. But I beam every night when my feet leave the muddy bottom. Blessed be the ties that bind. I spent a lifetime searching, looking for a prize, a treasure lost so long ago, unknown to mortal eyes. And every time I go below, where the undercurrents run, I hear the voices whisper low, this dive could be the one. And I dream through the days as I drift through the silent waters, how to let go and be free of this line. But I beam every night when my feet leave the muddy bottom. Blessed be the ties that bind. Blessed be the ties that bind. That was most of it. Thank you. Well, let's see here. One of the nice things about folk song is the fact that you don't even really necessarily have to have a musical instrument to sing. And this is one of those types of songs that is a chorus song, or sometimes in the maritime traditions known as a shanty. Now, shanties were used primarily for work aboard the sailing ships. And what is interesting, now there are two basic types. You had one that was used at the sails, raising the sails and that type of thing at the lines. And that was known as a halyard shanty, hauling the yard arm, that type of thing, okay? And then you had another type of shanty that was used aboard a mechanism, aboard the vessel, either like a windlass, kind of a teeter-totter thing, or a capstan, or the pumps, that type of thing. And what is interesting is that on these songs, the ones that used a mechanism, you could clip along at a pretty good rate, you know, because it was all tied to the machine that you were working at. It's kind of an even thing. However, if you're hauling sail, you're at the mercy of the winds, folks. And so this is the type of shanty that would have been used as a capstan. And this is a traditional lyric that I added a chorus to. And the traditional lyric was collected from a fellow named Billy Clark of Oswego, New York, by a fellow named Ivan Walton at the University of Michigan. And it talks about the Port of Buffalo and what a very even-keeled and laid-back town that was back in the old days. I'm being a little bit facetious. It was rip-roaring town, and this song has a great chorus. Now, do you guys feel like singing? Now, you sang really well on the Erie Canal song, Low Bridge Everybody On. So, but it's a little bit more involved because it has a little bit of a great chorus too. So there'll be a call response, singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. Okay, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. Okay. And then that repeats and goes throughout the song like that. But there's also a great chorus. It goes like this. Way Niagara, roust about Niagara, beware of the rocks that lie below Niagara Falls. Okay? Way Niagara, roust about Niagara, beware of the rocks that lie below Niagara Falls. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it won't end up on the rocks. We'll see. On my first trip down Lake Erie with some sailors to explore, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. There I met Rosie O'Flanagan, pride of all the Buffalo whores, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. She said, boys, I think I know you. Let me sit up upon your knee. A singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. How'd you like to do some loving? $1.50 would be my fee. A singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. A singing, way Niagara, roust about Niagara. Beware of the rocks that lie below Niagara Falls. Some was singing, some was dancing, some was a drunk upon the floor, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. I was over in the corner, spending time with a buffalo whore, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. She was slick as a boarding out master. I didn't know what she was about, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. Till I missed my watch and my wallet. Then by Jesus I struck out a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. A singing, way Niagara, roust about Niagara. Beware of the rocks that lie below Niagara Falls. Then the swords and hunts of leeches, they came at me by the score, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. You'd have laughed to split your breeches to see me flying out that door, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. So to all of you young sailors on the lakes when you explore, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. Keep an eye peeled on your rigging while navigating that Buffalo shore, a singing, way Niagara, below Niagara Falls. A singing, way Niagara, roust about Niagara. Beware of the rocks that lie below Niagara Falls. A singing, way Niagara, roust about Niagara. Beware of the rocks that lie below Niagara Falls. That's heave. That's well. Give yourself a nice round of applause. And yes, I did clean up the language a little bit. Not much, although there was a guy named Bear Powell that I met on the William J. McCarthy Jr. Now, that's a freighter on the Great Lakes, 1,000-footer, folks. I was a guest there. He was first assistant engineer. And he was a tall guy with a pinched face and a down east accent. And every day, because the food on board these vessels is nuts, it's crazy, you know, they would gain weight. And so what he did to keep himself in pretty good shape is he'd walk around the perimeter of the vessel. And so I walked with him, you know, a number of times. And then, you know, we were out in Lake Superior, and he told me, you know, now, look at that water. And we were out in the navigation channel, and the water was the color of those speakers. He said, now, Lee, you're looking at death there. You got about 5 minutes, and that's about it, you know, and before you succumb. And he also had a different version of that exact same song, and it was very colorful, let me put it that way. And I'll leave it at that. This is a song I first recorded in 1987. I loved it so much. Still do. And it was taken from a book called Folk Songs Out of Wisconsin, collected by Helene Stratton Thomas. But, and Franz Rickaby as well too. And it's about a vessel called the Persia, sometimes referred to as the Persian. It sank in 1868. All hands lost. And this poem was recorded in newspapers. It was actually performed at the memorial service for the crew. Some say it was composed by a singer named Shandy McGuire. Others say it was composed by the sister of the first mate, Daniel Sullivan. The Persia's home port was Oswego, New York. It's called the Persia's Crew. Sad and dismal is the story that I will tell to you about the schooner Persia, her officers and crew. She sank among the waters deep, in life to rise no more, where the wind and desolation sweep Lake Huron's rock-bound shore. She left Chicago on her leave. Their songs they did resound, and they were filled with joy and glee, for they were homeward bound. They thought that the sword of death would meet them on their way. They so full of life and hope would in Lake Huron lay. The captain, oh, he is no more. He lost his precious life. He sank down among Lake Huron's waves, free from all mortal strife. A barren coast now hides from view his lifeless manly form, and still in death is the heart so true that's weathered many a storm. And there was Daniel Sullivan, who was her mate, with a heart as true and brave as ever was, compelled by fate to fill a sailor's grave. We will miss the ink, though, in his eye. His hand will clasp no more. He met a sad, untimely end upon Lake Huron's shore. Mystery o'er their fate was seen. They did collide, some say, and that is all that will be revealed until the judgment day. It is then the angels will take their stand to sweep these waters blue, and summon forth at heaven's command the Persia's luckless crew. Around Presqu'île the seagulls scream their mournful notes along. They're chanting forth a requiem, a sudden funeral song. They skim along the water's blue, and then aloft they soar, in memory of the sailing men lost off Lake Huron shore. They skim along the water's blue, and then aloft they soar, in memory of the sailing men lost off Lake Huron's ashore. Thank you very, very much. It's so much fun. What a great sounding room, huh? You guys sounded really good singing in this thing. Not saying that you didn't sound good in any other room, but you know, just so nice to hear the acousticness of it. You know, case in point. Oh, Shenandoah's a rolling river, away you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah's a rolling river, away we're bound to go, cross the wide Missouri. See, that sounds fabulous in here, you know. Well, we got time for one more song. Unfortunately, it's extremely long. Now, the interesting thing about the Persia is she is in the Michigan Underwater Preserve out of Alpena, Michigan, in Lake Huron. And she did collide with the E.B. Allen. The E.B. Allen was trying to steal the wind. And the commander in the inquest said, well, you know, we last saw her hauled up, you know, and heading for shore. Well, she never made it. Poetic justice, 3 years later, same thing happened to E.B. Allen, almost in the same place. So they have both vessels that are in the preserve there and done archaeology on them. Now, this next song needs no introduction, but you're going to get one anyway. Quite often I'm asked to sing this song. When you ask a folk singer to sing a song that was a huge hit, there's always a price to be paid. And it can't be paid in dollars, only in information. The namesake of this vessel was the chief executive officer of the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company of Milwaukee. She had her built, sailed under the Columbia Steamship Line, flagship of the fleet, came out in 1958, built in the River Rouge in Detroit. And people who knew him said Edmund Fitzgerald was never the same when his namesake sank on November 10th, 1975. A few days later, Canadian folk singer was going back home from Los Angeles. He got on the airplane, first class, of course. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. And he noticed the newspapers sitting next to him, picked it up, Detroit Free Press, talking about the loss of this vessel. The lead line on that article, the legend lives on from the Chippewa down at the big lake they called Gitchigumi. A great songwriter finds a great song, or great line anywhere, folks. Perhaps unbeknownst to Gordon, though. the melody he chose for this particular song. My friend Sean Lay, who's at the Shipwreck Museum up in Paradise, Michigan, on Lake Superior, did a lot of research in indigenous music. And he found a warrior song to the Sioux City, the Sault Ste. Marie, Ojibwe, that had been sung in that area for hundreds of years. That was note for note the melody that Gordon used. And in the ancestral waters are where that ship sank. Now people say that the vessel was not kept up really well. She had been ridden hard. There's a lot of stories about that. And at the inquest, there was a number of people that were very upset. Families, survivors' families are upset that the onus was on the fact that they didn't batten down the hatches very well. Well, there's a legend on Lake Superior. Legend of the Three Sisters. 3 rogue waves that'll take a vessel. If you know your high school physics, you know that those waves can coalesce. Bernie Cooper and the Arthur M. Anderson, just 7 miles behind, the last person to see the vessel afloat. He said they were struck by 2 huge waves. And the cook saw the Fitzgerald and then just disappeared. My theory is that those 3 waves turned to 2, turned to 1 huge wave that took the Fitzgerald. So as we sing this song in churches and community centers, maritime museums, or just on the radio or on Spotify, think about all those 29 men who lost their lives. And the song has become much more a metaphor for all the sailors that lost their lives on the Great Lakes. Over 30,000. The legend lives on from the Chippewa of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake they said never gives up her dead when the skies in November turn gloomy. With the load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. But that good ship and crew were born to be true when the gales of November come early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. And as big freighters go, she was bigger than most, with a good crew and captain well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when she left fully loaded for Cleveland. And later that night, when that ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind and the wires made a telltale sound as a wave broke over the railing. Every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. The dawn came later, the breakfast had to wait, when the gales of November came slashing. When afternoon came, it poured freezing rain in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck, saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed you. Then at 7 p.m., a rogue wave came in. He cried, fellas, it's been good to know ya. Then the captain wired and he had water coming in. and his good ship and crew was in peril. And later that night, when the ship's lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they put 15 more miles behind her. She might have split up, or she might have capsized, or she might have broke deep and took water. But all that remains are the faces and the names of the wives, the sons, and the daughters. Lake Huron rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice-water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. Her islands and bays are for sportsmen. And farther below, Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. And the iron boats go, as the mariners all know, with the gales of November, remember. And resting all hall in Detroit they prayed at the Maritime Sailors Cathedral. And the church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. So the legend lives on from the Chippewa down of the big lake they call Gitchigumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early. Gordon Lightfoot.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's a treat for me anyway. No, one of my favorite songs. That's how I used to know the names of the Great Lakes, as I would sing that verse in that
Sure.
day, before I learned that Holmes. is the thing. Anyway, news from the outside world. The astronauts have made it down safely. I figured that was pretty important. So, on your right are wonderful things to eat and drink, salty and sweet, not the drink, but the eat. And on your left is the Lee Murdock Mall. And there are some wonderful things there, including, if you happen to know anybody that's teaching still, it's a great look.
Nice look. Nice look.
Yeah, it's amazing. So anyway, we'll be back. And we're back. We're back. No. There's another half. Okay, so coming up next week in this very space, Bruce Molsky, one of the most amazing fiddlers. Bruce will also be at the festival this year with Daryl Anger. The two of them together will knock your socks off. And then, if you're wearing socks, well, okay. Or other things. And then closing out our spring concert series on May 2nd is a Tay, wonderful group from Quebec, spectacular cello, and two fiddles, amazing group. That's May 2nd in this very spot, amazing. And then the festival, of course, June 26th, 27th, and 28th, right here in this space. Feel free to take one of these postcards. It has the lineup for the festival. It also tells you about the other great things that happen here you might want to come to, like the open mic that happens once a month on Wednesdays, and African drumming. You can come and learn how to do African drumming on a Monday night once a month. Then there are also instrument classes and lots of other things to do. So, and a dance coming up in 2 weeks from tomorrow, right, Dan? Great. It's a community dance. Yeah, like folk dancing. So that's right here as well. All right, so now, without further ado, there he is, Lee Murdock.
Got to clear out the scuppers a little bit here. From the cake. That floor is getting farther and farther away. But now I got my stretching exercises done, so I'm all set. When I first heard this song, I was at a little folk festival outside of Chicago called the Fox Valley Folk Festival. And it was a pretty traditional festival where you had a main stage and then you had workshop stages. And the workshop stages were each in a tent on different parts of the festival grounds. And the festival grounds were on an island in the middle of the Fox River. It was fabulous. Herons going down, and it was mallards and geese and otters, and in the middle of Geneva, Illinois. Okay, so it's just a suburb. And this particular workshop was a maritime workshop, and I was doing the lake songs, and a fellow named Bob Zentz was doing deepwater songs. And he started singing this song, and the tent was, I don't know, probably about, not quite from here to the back wall, not the back wall, but the one that has the public library sign on it. So it's about 20 feet wide, 20 by 30, okay. But there were people all, there must have been 150 people out there, and when he started singing this song, it seemed like the whole island started singing along too. This is one of Bob's songs that he wrote, channeling Leadbelly actually, with one of his songs, but he took it from his experience in the North Atlantic while he was a Coast Guardsman. It's called "Let the Light from the Lighthouse Shine on Me." Shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. You might be familiar with the basic old-fashioned song, so the chorus goes like this. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Try it. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse, shine on me. When the daylight fades, when the shadows fall, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. And the weather watch spies a coming squall, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. And the sun sinks low in a troubled sea, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. And the night winds blow and the rain falls free, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. When the clouds boil black, when the winds will wail, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. And you're caught in the teeth of a living gale, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. And your sailor's heart is filled with fear, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. When the sound of the surf on the rocks is near, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Then the wind drops off and the seas be calm, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. But the fog is thickest before the dawn, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Then that new sun burns that fog away, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. From the darkest night comes the brightest day, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. When your ship is safe in port again, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. You can thank the keeper, you can thank the flame, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me, oh shine on me, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Nonsense. I made reference to Ivan Walton and his collection, and he basically grew up in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, which is the central part of the Lower Peninsula, and his family had a business there, and he had a cousin that would come down from the North Country. He was a lumberjack up there, and he would come down and help out in the summertime. And after dinner, they would sit around after the dinner table, and he would be singing all these sailor songs. And he was going like, "What? This guy's a lumberjack. What are you talking about?" And so he decided, after he got his job at the University of Michigan, to, as a professor of English in the engineering school, yes, the engineers had to learn how to use the English language, he decided to go and collect some songs. And so he started in 1928, but then in 32 he got a grant for a recording machine. And he basically went and interviewed all of these different sailors in their towns when they were elderly. And all these sailors, like Captain William Clark, also known as Billy Clark, who wrote a song, he said, for every vessel he worked on. And the reason why, in those shoreside taverns, if you know a good song, you got a free drink. Mother of invention, okay? Oh, I can write a song about this ship, you know, that type of thing. But I mean, he was quite a character and very, very talented. He's attributed to a lot of songs. But also in Waukegan, Illinois, and Milwaukee, and St. Ignace, and Picton, Ontario, Oswego, New York, of course, and Buffalo, and this is one. Called On Gravelly Bay, and it talks about a drover who was from Cleveland, but he went up to work on the improvement of the Welland Canal, and the Gravelly Bay is where on the Canadian side of Lake Erie, where the Welland Canal empties into, that what is now Port Colborne, and so this is a song about a drover. Called On Gravelly Bay. I was a handsome, nice young man, and I hailed from Cleveland town, and for my daily occupation I teamed for Johnny Brown, and all day long I'd sport and play. My joy I never did begrudge, till I was sent to Gravelly Bay to work upon the drudge. I had not been to Gravelly Bay, but scarcely one day, 2 or 3, before a very fair young girl fell into love with me. She said, Mike, my man, give me your hand, and from you I will never budge. With you I'll stay on Gravelly Bay and work upon the drudge. Her mother standing at her door says, daughter, please don't make such noise, for you are far too young a maid to trust among those boys. And that young man that holds your hand, as the Lord knows I can rightly judge, for with his eye he'll make you sigh if ever he leaves a drudge. Now, mother dear, don't be severe, my lovely darling then did say, never eye so fair nor jet black hair was ever on Gravelly Bay. So I took her to my bosom then, and life was light even in the sludge, and for many a day I gave her my pay while I worked on the drudge. Alas, the weeks did pass along, as well that channel lengthened too. Some doubtful thoughts came into my mind, if she were really true. And it's sad to relate, but it is my fate, that of womankind I am no judge, for she loved not one, but all of the men who worked upon the drudge. Little reality there. I am very much indebted to many, many different folks. People like Stan Rogers, of course, Gordon Bach, and Mayo Muir, and so many others. And also a fellow named John Blaine. Now, John's real name was John Golubowitz, but he was an amazing singer. He did all different types of stuff. And he was a number of years older than me. As a matter of fact, he's about 22 years older than me, and he's still around, and I'm 73. And still has that voice, an amazing voice. He lives out in Marion, Iowa now. And I was playing at a club called The Sanctuary, which is a pizza place in Iowa City. And he'd be sitting right in the front row, right about where you're sitting. And he'd just focus on what I was doing, and just a bigger-than-life person, you know. And he knew Ewan McCall and Peggy Seeger really well. He would go over and play the folk clubs, and played banjo and sang like Mance Lipscomb and sang like Ewan McCall. He was a great mimic. As a matter of fact, one time he was telling me he went up behind Peggy, and he started coming on to her behind her back, and she didn't know. She was watching the show, and she says, "Get out of here. You know, he's mimicking Ewan, you know." And she turned around and said, "Oh." So he was quite an amazing person. But he also knew a guy named Paul Clayton. And Paul Clayton was a great folk singer, singer of maritime songs, and did a lot of research. And John gave me this version that Paul collected. And it's, some of you who are really into the maritime stuff, maritime songs, know of the John Franklin story, you know, and the song. Well, this is from Lady Franklin's perspective. And John Franklin, if you aren't familiar with that, he was the person who was tasked by the Queen to find the Northwest Passage, to go through the Arctic. And they left in 1845 and never returned. And Lady Franklin actually sponsored a number of expeditions to come find out what happened. And what is interesting is that Paul Clayton found this lyric, this poem, in a ship's log in New Bedford, undated, as a lot of the melancholy stuff is. You know, it's just kind of that's in the margins and stuff. And but what is interesting, there are a number of names you're going to hear in this particular version of Lady Franklin's Lament that were all commanders of expeditionary travels to find out what happened. But there's no mention of the definitive one, which was in 1859, a fellow named Captain McClintock. And so this lyric comes before they actually found out what happened with it. And it's my version of Lady Franklin's Lament. "'Tis homeward bound one night on the deep, slung in my hammock fast asleep. I had a dream which I thought was true concerning Franklin and his old crew. 'Tis as we neared the English shore, I heard a lady sadly deplore. She cried aloud and seemed to say, alas, my husband is so long away. 'Twas 7 years since that ship of fame first bore my husband across the main, with hearts undaunted and courage out to seek a Northwest Passage out. Seek a passage around the pole. 100 seamen brave and bold, with hearts undaunted and courage true, 'tis what no man on earth can do. There was Captain Osborne of Scarborough Town, brave Petty and Winslow of high renown. There was Captain Ross and many more. In vain they cruised round the Arctic shore. They sailed east and they sailed west, on Greenland's coast where they thought the best. Mid hardships and dangers they vainly strove, on mountains of ice their ships were home. Baffin's Bay, where the whalefish blows, is the fate of Franklin that no one knows. 10,000 pounds I would freely give to find my husband still did live. And to bring him back to this land of light, where once again I could be his wife. I give all the wealth that I e'er shall have, but I fear, alas, he has found his grave. A voice deep within that I can't control is assurance to me of his peace of soul. Oh, Arctic seas, what you now have sealed at Judgment Day shall be revealed. Homeward bound one night on the deep, slinging my hammock fast asleep, I had a dream which I thought was true concerning Franklin and his bold crew. Thank you. There are times when that song just gets me right here. I just barely keep it together to sing it. That's the beauty of these songs, see. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter who wrote them. It's this connection that we have. You know, we need more of that these days, folks. Just a thought. At any rate, speaking of connection, this is a song that was collected by Ivan Walton, but it is a traditional song that was sung on the East Coast for a long, long time. And it's a song called The Sailor's Alphabet. Now, I know some of the folks in the back, you know this song, and you'll sing along on it. And basically what it is a song that describes different parts of the sailing vessel, or some of the people aboard the sailing vessel, or some of the materials aboard, you know, that type of thing. But this particular version of the song was collected in Picton, Ontario, by Ivan Walton. William Head was his source, who learned it, this is in 32, who learned it just 4 years before on the steamer Selkirk. And instead of what you find on a tall-masted sailing ship, this is what you'd find on a Great Lakes freighter. It's called the Great Lakes version of the sailor's alphabet. It goes like this. And when the course comes around, I'll teach it to you if you don't know it. A is for anchor, sometimes called hook. B is for bosun, who's often a crook. C is for captain, a rusty old man. And D is for deck, where the winches are ran. E is for ensign, high up on the spar. F is for fireman, who throws the slice bar. G is for galley, where the cook does his stuff. And H is for hatchway, where one falls enough. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals on earth are as happy as we. Sing I-derry, oh-derry, I-derry down. Give sailor boys grog and there's nothing goes wrong. So let's try it. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. Try it. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals on earth are as happy as we. No mortals on earth are as happy as we. Sing hi-derry, ho-derry, hi-derry down. Sing hi-derry, ho-derry, hi-derry down. Give sailor boys grog and there's nothing goes wrong. Give sailor boys grog and there's nothing goes wrong. If you're wondering what grog is, it's kind of like Mountain Dew. I is for iron ore that the ships carry. J is for Jane, we all love but won't marry. K is for keel, deep down in the sea. And L is for locks at Sault Ste. Marie. M is for mattress, all full of bed bugs. N is for navy beans, we eat from our mugs. O is for oiler, all greasy and gray. And P is for pumps, which he runs night and day. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals on earth are as happy as we. Sing hi-derry, oh-derry, hi-derry down. Give sailor boys grog and there's nothing goes wrong. Q is for quarterdeck, called the fantail. R is for rollers that come o'er the rail. S is for sailor who does his own patches. T is for tarpaulin that covers the hatches. U is for union, the pipe fitters know. V for ventilator down which the winds blow. W for windlass that pulls up the hook. And X the signature of our scholarly cook. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals on earth are as happy as we. Sing hi-derry, oh-derry, hi-derry down. Give sailor boys grog and there's nothing goes wrong. Y is for yells the mate often makes. Z is for zero in winter on the lakes. That's all of the words that I know do this song. If you find more letters, then you can write on. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals on earth are as happy as we. Sing hi-derry, oh-derry, hi-derry down. Give sailor boys grog and there's nothing goes wrong. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals on earth are as happy as we. Sing hi-derry, oh-derry, hi-derry down. Give sailor boys grog and there's nothing goes wrong. Sailor's alphabet. Well, I think it's time to haul sail. And so, this is one of my favorite halyard shanties, Hangin' Johnny. I'll teach it to you. It's pretty straightforward if you don't know it. I know a lot of you might already. I'll sing a line, oh, they call me Hangin' Johnny. And I want you folks to sing, hooray, boys, hooray. Try that. Hooray, boys, hooray. Excellent, okay. Then I'll sing, oh, they call me Hangin' Johnny. And they're just sing, so hang, boys, hang. Try that. So hang, boys, hang. Now you might be wondering what's going on here. Is this about corporal punishment? No. When the command was prepare to make sail, well, some of the apprentice seamen would climb up to the masthead, and then they would swing out on the halyard and kind of write it down as the sail was going up, kind of counterbalance. Kind of the original hanging out, if you know what I mean. And, you might think, well, that was very ingenious on them. And yes, it is, but a lot of times when they're making sail, it's pretty close to the shoreline. And my guess is they're showing off to all the girls on the shore, And those guys weren't hardly even making any money. So keep that in mind. That's what's going on, okay, when we do this. And the great thing about the shanties themselves, and this was not done very much in the military navies or anything like that. They had musicians for that. But the merchant seamen, they had the opportunity to, sing together. And what is interesting is that they could make editorial comments towards the management, which will happen in this particular one. But what is also exciting, I learned this, and I'll also explain it a little bit later. On studies, if you're singing together and working together like that, more oxygen gets into the blood, more work gets done. It's that simple. And my personal experience, schooner Manitou out of Traverse City. Music cruise, and I got there on the night before we were going to depart, and we were kind of just joking around in the galley, and I taught them this song and everything like that. And then, what we wanted to do is we got underway in the morning, okay? And, so one of the passengers, or I would refer to as the cargo, because that's, we were just, said, we ought to sing while we haul sail. And the first mate said, no, let's just get the sails up. Captain McGinnis said, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll haul the main the way we always do. And then we'll haul the fore with a shanty. And if you're not familiar with these vessels, the schooners, the fore and aft rigs, the one with the trapezoidal type shaped sails, not the big square sails, well, you have what is called a throat and a peak. So because there's two halyards to take the sail up, and there's if you see, there's a timber on the top and a timber on the bottom, the boom, and a gaff. And so it goes up like this, see, like that, like that, okay? And so you have them on both port and starboard, and the shantyman stands amidship, okay? On the big rig vessels, a lot of times the shantyman would be on the downhaul himself, controlling the work. But at any rate, I digress. But first sail we went up, so let's just get it up there. So we slapping hands and getting up there type of thing, and then they did this thing at the very end, 2-6 heave, 2-6 heave, 2-6 heave to get it set just right. And then it was time to raise the foresail. And so I stood midship and we started singing. And I couldn't even get through like 4 verses. And that sail just jumped up the mast. This is the first time I ever even tried it. I was a folk singer. I wasn't a sailor, okay? And so I went aft and the captain was on the wheel. And I said, what'd you think? I said, I've never seen a sail go up so fast in my life. That was a bunch of people who didn't know what they were doing. And so it wasn't the people. It was the song and the way we worked together. So let's do this, Hangin' Johnny. Oh, they call me Hangin' Johnny. Hooray, boys, hooray. Oh, they call me Hangin' Johnny. So hang, boys, hang. We'll hang and haul together. Hooray, boys, hooray. We'll hang for better weather. So hang, boys, hang. Oh, they call me Hangin' Johnny. Hooray, boys, hooray. They says I hangs for money. So hang, boys, hang. They says I hung my mother. Hooray, boys, hooray. And then I hung my brother. So hang, boys, hang. And I'd hang those boarding bosses. Hooray, boys, hooray, who necked us for their losses. So hang, boys, hang, and I'd hang a careless rigger. Hooray, boys, hooray, who couldn't plan or figure. So hang, boys, hang, and I'd hang a lazy soldier. Hooray, boys, hooray, just like any joner. So hang, boys, hang, and I'd hang those scrimping owners. Hooray, boys, hooray, just like all the others. So hang, boys, hang, and I'd hang them all together. Hooray, boys, hooray, I'd hang them all together. So hang, boys, hang. Play the hired. That's well. Give yourselves a nice round of applause. It's amazing how those, yeah, I mean, it was all different types of work songs worked like that, you know. Whether it's a drover song or, you know, the rhythm of that Tin Pan Alley song, Low Bridge Everybody Down. But boy, you know, I think the reason why his kids liked it was not only that it was a mule there, but it was the gait that the mule was doing. And I got a mule and her name is Sal. You know, just the work coming through the song itself. What's that going to do? Oh, yeah. I had a wonderful opportunity to play with a number of different great folk singers in different settings. And basically sharing the stage in a way. And one of them, this is going to get right here eventually, was the great Bob Gibson. He and I were doing a children's festival in Springfield, Illinois. He saw I was doing all these lake songs, and he said, you know, I do some lake songs too. And he proceeded to play this song for me. I've loved it. Composed by Shel Silverstein, The Mermaid of Ontario. The Mermaid of Ontario had long, green, stringy hair-o, and a seaweed gown to wear-o, but she had no one to marry-o. Oh, the Mermaid of Ontario loved a big-mouthed bass named Larry-o, who lived in Lake St. Clair-o, under the St. Clair Ferry-o. Oh, the Mermaid of Ontario sent a seagull emissary-o to ask that big bass Larry-o if he'd consent to marry-o. Oh, no, 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 said Larry-o, my life I will not share-o. I'd rather play solitaire-o, sit around in my underwear-o, read books from the fish library-o. He said, you're so ordinary-o, and I'm extraordinary-o, and I dress so debonair-o, I've a fine vocabulary-o, I learned from the fish dictionary-o. Before I marry you, I'd marry-o a Guernsey cow from the dairy-o, or eat a poison berry-o, wind up with fish dysentery-o. Oh, the poor mermaid of Ontario, 'twas more than she could bear-o. So she cried for a day, then she swam away with the yuppie little guppy named Gary-o. Now they're a happy pair-o, 'cause he's a millionaire-o. In his yacht in Lake St. Clair-o, they cuddle in a cozy chair-o, listen to his underwater stereo. And the big mouth bass named Larry-o married a cow from the dairy-o. She fed him a poison berry-o, he wound up in the fish cemetery-o. And that's the whole scenario. Shel Silverstein. I got time for a few more songs here, a couple more songs. this particular next song is one of mine that I wrote, and it takes a little bit of explaining. There's a interesting article in the History Music magazine about the life-saving service and the revenue cutter service and the lighthouse service, and they do an awful lot of fabulous reproductions of maritime artwork, and there are many, many different stories about the lighthouse service and also about the life-saving service. And on Lake Superior, in the eastern part, on the U.S. side, that is known as Superior's Shipwreck Coast because of the prevailing winds and the treacherous shoreline there. Because of that, the life-saving service had stationed a station about every 10 miles from Whitefish Point to what is Munising, and manned by lifesavers, storm warriors, surfmen, if you will. And one of the jobs for surfmen was what they called beach patrol, where you go out and with a lantern and maybe a flare, and you would walk a certain way between the stations to meet somebody from another station, exchange a token, and then turn back to your station and report back to your commanding officer, whatever happened to do. If there was a wreck ashore or something like that, you'd light the flare and then help would come. And in 1920, in March, west of Chris Point Station, on one of the first beach patrols, they found a sailor encased in ice 4 miles west. His name was William Riley, and he was a crewman on the John Owen that went down previous November. So they cut him out of the ice, took him back to Sault Ste. Marie for the family that claimed the body, but never was, so they put him in an unmarked grave. But that's not the end of the story. People still see him out walking the beach, searching, you know. So this is from the perspective of an old-time lifesaver giving a pep talk to a new recruit's first beach patrol. It's called Riley's Ghost. When the wind whips up the waters around Superior Shipwreck Coast, many miles of desolation you must travel to reach your post. With your lantern you'll be searching for ships and the sailors in distress. It's the duty of a surfman to bear witness. Back in March of 1920, west of Chris Point in the ice, was found a frozen sailor. Old Man Winter claimed his price. William Riley was his name, late from the steamer John Owen's crew. But since that day, some folks will say they've seen his spirit too. Oh, the winds will rage and blow, pile up the drifting snow, and the wolves howl in harmony through the night. He's still out there on his own, and you know you're not alone as you walk this empty beach by lantern light. Oh, the winds will rage and blow, pile up the drifting snow, and the wolves howl in harmony through the night. He's still out there on his own, and you know you're not alone as you walk this empty beach by lantern light. Now some surfmen may boast and bluster about their valor and brave deeds, while in service to the sailors and those ships that are in need. But when the wind whips up these waters along Superior shipwreck coast, while on patrol, keep an eye peeled for Riley's ghost. Yes, on patrol, keep an eye peeled for Riley's ghost. Thank you. Very much, very much. Well, I'll finish up with a great song from a long time ago, Lighthouse Song. And a very interesting story behind this song. Now, I was doing a benefit concert on the William G. Mather Museum in Cleveland, Ohio, many, many, many years ago. And it was pretty lightly attended, but it was like on October 8th, and it was a gorgeous night. It was just beautiful. Could have been very different, but it was nice. And we were basically, I was on one of the hatches, and then people were in between the hatches and you know, just listening to the concert and everything, and you know, benefit. And there was a lady sitting right up front, an elderly gal, and she requested this song, and I said, you know, well, I don't really know the song. I'm really, really sorry. You know, and if I don't know the words, I don't want to do unjust to the song. You know, I want to treat it with respect, that type of thing. So she said, oh, no problem at all. You know, later on, we were chatting afterwards and said, well, my husband was the second captain of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Dorothy Larson was her name. I went like, oh. Guess who learned that song that she wanted to sing? What is interesting, though, is the background on this song. 1869 was a tough year on the Great Lakes. For November, big storms and a lot of vessels lost. And this particular storm, there was vessels would come into this harbor west of Cleveland called Black River Harbor, now known as Lorraine. And in the old days, the lighthouse, you could see out to Lake Erie about 18 miles. And on the channel out, there was some small whale oil lights marking the channel. When this storm, the first week in November 1868, all those channel lights were taken out. And what was interesting is that a couple days later, another vessel was trying to get into the harbor during a storm after dark, missed the entrance, went on the rocks, and there was some loss of life. And back in those days, all the comings and goings of what they were hauling was always chronicled in the newspapers, whether it was the Inter Ocean or, all the different newspapers, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, Chicago Tribune, all the different type of newspapers. And it just so happens there was a fellow in Chicago who was reading about this one, and he happened to be a fellow named Dwight Moody, Reverend Dwight Moody, who started the Moody Tabernacle. And one of his, not disciples, but one of his fans was Philip Bliss. Philip Bliss was born in Ashtabula, lived in Conneaut, but he would travel over to Chicago. And basically, what Reverend Moody said as a metaphor in the aftermath of this tragedy, the following Sunday, he said that the Almighty will take care of the lighthouse on high. But it's up to us to make sure the lower lights keep burning. Phil Bliss was in the congregation that day, and a few days later, he had composed a song, Let the Lower Lights Be Burning. And what is fascinating about this song is that this was a song that was embraced by mariners. Even less than 2 years later, you could hear this at Saturday meeting houses in Sydney, Australia. This is long before, the internet, folks, And so this is my version of the song. And some of you may have sung this in church. You probably haven't heard it quite like this, though. So, but if you know the song, want to sing along, please do. This is my version of Let the Lower Lights Be Burning. Brightly beams our Father's mercy from his lighthouse evermore. But to us he gives the keeping of the lights along the shore. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave. Some poor fading, struggling seaman you may rescue, you may save. Dark the night as sin has settled, loud the angry billows roar. Eager eyes are watching, longing for the lights along the shore. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave. Some poor fading, struggling seaman you may rescue, you may save. Dark the night of sin has settled, loud the angry billows roar. Eager eyes are watching, longing for the lights along the shore. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave. Some poor fading, struggling seaman you may rescue, you may say, join me, will you? Let the lower lights be burning, send the gleam across the wave. Some poor sailing, struggling seaman you may rescue, you may say, one more time. Let the lower lights be burning, send the gleam across the wave. Some poor fading, struggling seaman you may rescue, you may save.
You know any more songs?
The song was written by an Australian fellow named Eric Bogle in the aftermath of the loss of Stan Rogers. And that summer I played Owen Sound Folk Festival, 83, and it was beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. And Eric played it. Everybody sang along and wept. It was magnificent. A real connection. And I never really thought about singing it because it was such a sad song. Beautifully done and very important. About 7 or 8 years later, I heard somebody else singing this song. And it had a different feel to it. I felt it kind of sang to the sailing spirit in all of us. So with that, I offer this song. Safe in the harbor. Have you stood by the ocean on a diamond hot morning and felt the horizon stir deep in your soul? Watch the wake of a steamer as she cuts through blue water, being ripped by a fever you just can't control. To throw off the shackles and fly with the seagulls where the green waves go tumbling before driving sea winds. Or to lie on the decking on a warm summer's evening, watch the red sun fall burning beneath the earth's rim. To every sailor comes time to drop anchor, hole in the sails and make the lines fast. You deep water dreamer, your journey is over. You're safe in the harbor at last. You're safe in the harbor at last. Now some folks are sailors, but most are just dreamers, held fast by the anchors they forged in their minds. When their hearts know they'll never sail over deep water to search for a treasure they're afraid they won't find. So in sheltered harbors, they cling to their anchors, bank down their boilers, and shut down the steam. and wait for the sailors to return with the treasures, to fan the dull embers and fire up their dreams. To every sailor comes time to drop anchor, haul in the sails, and make the lines fast. You deep water dreamer, your journey is over. You're safe in the harbor at last. You're safe in the harbor at last. Now some folks are schemers who laugh at the dreamers, take the gold from the sailors and turn it to dross. They are men in a prison, women without vision, whose only horizon is profit and loss. So when storm clouds come sailing across your blue ocean, hold fast to your dreaming for all that you're worth. For as long as there's dreamers, there will always be sailors bringing back their bright treasures from the corners of birth. To every sailor comes time to drop anchor, haul in the sails, and make the lines fast. You deep water dreamer, your journey is over. You're safe in the harbor at last. You're safe in the harbor at last. Every sailor must finally drop anchor, haul in the sails, and make the lines fast. You deep water dreamer, your journey is over. You're safe in the harbor at last. You're safe in the harbor at last. Fair winds to you all. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you all for coming, and get home safely. We're going to clear up the chairs for you tonight. So the bus is here for those of you who are taking the bus back to your abode. And you can go out the ramp over here. And thank you all. And if you want to grab a piece of cake, there are probably still some left. If you need to shop at the mall, that's still available. You know, give folk singers a little space in their homes by buying their artistry. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Have a good night. We hope to see you at the festival. Hope to see you next week at Bruce.